So in general, we would like to talk about the AI specifically from practical perspective when we are talking about the companies. And we are talking about how actually the companies can operate with emerging tools, with new capabilities, and specifically how AI can actually connect and bridge between different departments, between different metrics, which we usually see in different companies and the different people who is responsible for different things, and how all this together to bring to the one shared goal for success of the company. And I would like to show it in the practical examples as well. General about myself, I am more than 20 years experience in high tech, working globally with startups, investors, universities, corporates, governments. We built many companies and funds. We openly working with the different new initiatives. I personally built number of startups. I'm working with many startups. A main focus from my personal experience is actually strategic consulting, mainly around due diligence, how to build company, how to build valuation, how to build company from idea and to IPO to exits. We are working with investors. We're helping them to understand what is the right deal flow, how to work with deal flow, how to create value to the companies and the investors, and how to build the general ecosystems. But the main goal from the years is always was only to take the best innovation we have today and to translate it to the specific measurable business results. So we are talking about business. And specifically here, how we are taking the new initiatives around the countries, globally, or city as ecosystem. We are bringing together technologies, teams, and investments, and how all this will work together. So this is in general what we are doing in my company Astelion. I founded this many years ago. We are working globally with top global experts in different fields. And the highest level is very important to make the direct impact, not just what is about the innovation, not just to teach, actually to help to generate in the measurable, specific economical, financial, and social value for everyone in ecosystem. So we are working with all stakeholders of the ecosystem as we discussed. And last, I would say 5-7 years, we are focusing on the AI-powered value creation. We are using our own tools. We are using many best available tools in the industry, but we are trying to bring the most efficient combination, which will bring specific value for each one of the participants of this ecosystem. Let's talk about the companies, what we usually see in the companies. The main problem for the most companies, by the way, it doesn't matter if we are talking about the small startups or small SMBs, or we are talking about global corporates and huge conglomerates. The main issue is how to build coordinated effort to build specific results, to share the main goal, which will be achievable. And this is something we see as a main problem. And usually this is not only issue, it's not issue if the company has technology or the company has the best talents. It's usually much more complicated, because companies will fail or not succeed if they will not achieve finally the goal. So the problem, if we are talking about the internally in each company, and again, it doesn't matter the size, usually we will see the people or departments will talk in different languages, because each one have the specific niche. Marketing will talk about marketing, advertising, campaign, brand awareness, and specific, very specific metrics and language, which usually only marketing people will understand. And they are measuring their sales usually on the how many campaigns we did, how successfully we managed it with the advertising, marketing, media agencies, and they will talk between them in the clicks, in the number of views. This is actually metrics they will talk. From the other side, if we are talking about finance people, they are talking about money. They are talking about budgets. They are talking about how efficiency to manage these budgets, what is the business and or company ROI, return on investment, on each investment. And this is what they would like to see. And this is what they would like to understand. They would like to understand it from each investment, if we are talking about marketing, or we are talking R&D, or sales and salespeople, or any other expenses which company will have. And they will need to manage, but usually they will manage is internally in the budgets, and externally they will need to meet international or local standard, if you're talking in US at US GAAP, to translate it to know how to report on globally IFRS or some local standards. From another side, if we are talking about products will talk about the features. The product will talk about product management. They will talk about timing. They will talk in the different language as well. If you are talking about R&D people, they will talk about the more budgets for the engineers. They will like to see new tools, not always the most efficient tools, but they will like to bring the best, interesting, or most advanced. Not usually it will be the best for the company, but this is what we like to have. If we're talking about sales, they measured by how the sales they have. They will talk about quarters. They will talk about how many they have in their pipeline, how many budget they need, and usually they have much more budget they we think, and they will request much more. We're not sure they will reach their goals, but they will always request more. Operations will like to manage it. Everything will work perfectly. They will like to see good servers, good shared, I don't know, cloud services, or some to see how they will can grow, if the company will grow, how if they will be able to grow together with company. In many cases, we can see that companies, for example, sell much more, but operations will not able to support it because they don't have enough infrastructure to support these capabilities, or they need to move to the new services or to new supplier of the data centers or AI tools. If we are talking about management, leadership of the companies, they usually will need to define very specific strategies to know with all mix of the problems and issues, competition, market changes, what is the priorities. They need to prioritize what is really important, what they need to stop or to close, or maybe to invest in the new things, but they need to build strategy and to manage it to be very, very clear, with very clear KPI, which should be reached. And in our dynamic market, sometimes we need to manage it and maybe to change. If we are talking about the board or shareholders of the companies, they're interested in very simple things. They would like to see companies successful from the business perspective. They would like to see high valuation, to see how they make money, exits or dividends, depending on the model. But if you will see, each one will have different specific niche goals, but in total, they have one goal, coordinated effort. They need to have successful company. As I said, it doesn't matter if we are talking about small company or we are talking about big company. And here we are talking about AI, but not just general AI or black box. It's very important to have today responsible, explainable AI tools, which company can use and to understand what exactly problem they have, how AI will help them, and they will understand what AI they're actually explaining or suggest them, or maybe replacing someone, or using it in the way how all these different people and organizations will combine as a specific layer, unique layer, which will be understandable. Because you will just use AI, general AI as black box, and AI will tell you, okay, now you are using this, let's say, capabilities, and you can spend on this, and you will have this, but we do not understand why AI will explain us it. It's not so good because we will not actually will understand how it's what the decision of this AI tool was, was the data set, is this is right or wrong, can we correct it, can we understand it? So we have to use responsible and explainable AI. So I would like to continue with specific examples and to talk about how most of the marketing-driven startups or SMBs or even larger companies are facing challenges, and most of them is challenges related to the growth, how to build the right growth and balancing with profitability, and everything related with issues related to the marketing-driven business models. So uh, it's, uh, if we will take, for example, what is one of the major challenges for the startups is actually how to pass due diligence. It is a marketing-driven company because the main issue, specifically from the beginning, then we don't know exactly how the company will grow, and we will not understand exactly what kind of the go-to-market strategy will be and how it work in real competitive environment. The company usually will put a lot of money, and as advertising is most as the largest, biggest cost in the profit and loss in P&L. And in reality, it's very, very hard to measure what is really work or not, what kind of the channels or campaigns will work in this case. And this is very hard to explain to investors. And more than that, even in the company, usually we will see many disagreement between the CEO, finance guy, marketing guy, sales guy, how exactly the budget they'll need to split, what is the real KPI we will see if we will spend more on branding, on performance, which channels, when we will do this, when we will campaign, we will go to the market. So all these issues become very challengeable. It's very hard to explain if we are talking about investors, if it's venture capital angels or banks who are giving loans to the companies. And usually the regular tools will not allow us to explain it because usually we will see Excels, some assumptions, which is very hard to explain, or usually it will be based on some historical data, which company usually saying, okay, this is what we see till now. We believe we will grow with these assumptions, and usually it will be wrong. So we'll see so many different ideas and forecasting, which is will very hard to explain or to prove in some way, which will be very clear methodology and will be go easily through the due diligence. Then we are talking about investors. So this is a very large and very complex issue of the due diligence is how to explain how the marketing-driven startup will grow or marketing-driven SMBs. And as a result, because investors understand this issue, and in most cases for startup, it's very hard to explain as we explain it. Usually, investors will have a lot of skepticism about how the company is showing their forecasting or KPI that they believe we will able to achieve. And usually, it will be very speculative during due diligence. As a result, it will be impact very significant evaluation. We will see a lot of discount, or companies will be not able to pass due diligence, and the investor will reject actually the deals. And one of the issues will be that there is the main understanding and the common understanding between the investor and the startups. They will not talk on the same language, and they'll without pure and clear, transparent methodology with proven data and with proven tools. It will be very hard to explain why the company will able to reach the result they believe they will able to do, and based on this, the investor will be able to calculate their potential ROI or exits in case the company will be successful. So in most cases, we see the very, very typical scenario. They're usually companies saying, okay, we have very, very typical KPIs, which usually we would like to show is, for example, number of users or customers, and some metrics which usually will defined in the industry, like what is the average revenue per user, or typically we'll hear a lot about customer acquisition costs, lifetime value, how the specific customer or cohort will bring us for the specific time, and some ratio which usually telling us if this is a business model is good. Usually LTV to CAC ratio should be more than 3. And the issue is that usually the company taking some historical data and saying, okay, this is a number of users, this is our pool, this is in general revenue what we will see. And if we will have this number of customer acquisition costs, we will just multiply on number of users, and we will know, for example, what is our marketing expense for the next 12 months. And how we'll know how we'll go in forecast, let's multiply with some calculation and the growth rate to the 3-5 years. And this is what we see a lot of in Excel. And this is the picture which we actually see. That we see more or less the same customer acquisition cost with growth, which is the companies believe it will grow, with LTV CAC ratio, very nice. And usually this is the assumptions not correct, and it's very, very easy to check which is the assumptions actually wrong. And this is a place where responsible AI tools help us to validate assumptions correctly. First, for the startup. Secondly, if we are talking about investors, they can use these tools as well. So how we can do it in Astelion using advanced tools, for example, from AdoptoMedia. Actually, we need to aggregate all data available, or we will able to aggregate it from different sources, which actually bring a lot of information which we need in order to be able to calculate, to understand different points and data from the different teams, to understand what is the insight and which recommendation we will need to give. Based on the insights, we will understand how all this together will work as consolidated effort as a team, which need to achieve specific goals. And based on this, we will be able to suggest some specific insight to inform business decisions, to make informed business decisions for the management team or for investors who would like to invest in the company. But the bottom line, we aggregate all necessary business data, marketing data, financial data, data from different external factors like macroeconomics about the market, competition, and many others. All these we aggregate together, and based on this, we will be able to build as well very, very efficient FP&A, forecasting, planning, and analytics tools or information, which will able to help us to collaborate between different teams in the company, CEO, finance, marketing, sales. They will talk on the same language, on the same business language. We actually translate from different metrics which we have in each department, like marketing talking about clicks and number of views, sales about sales, finance talking about money and the numbers, and CEO need to, in general, to understand how the company bring the value to the investment shareholders. So all this together, we will be able to aggregate and to explain. So specifically, if we are talking about AdoptoMedia, the company which we are using, and I have to tell one of the co-founders is the company, AdoptoMedia allow us, after the aggregation of the data, to understand, first of all, if the company already has historical data, to understand what is the actual descriptive analytics. And based on this, we will understand how a company did the business before that. And based on this data, we will be able to build our prediction. Prediction analytics will tell, okay, what company can do in, for example, next 12 months or even more. And using prescriptive analytics, we will be able to understand how exactly we will achieve the specific goals in order to be able to define goals by the team or maybe investors to answer their questions. But all this together is built on the very, very efficient AI-based tools with proven methodology, with data which it's not a black box, it's responsible AI. We understand what we are bringing. We can prove the results and to explain what is achievable and what not and why. So this is just one of the examples. What AdoptoMedia allow us to do is actually, for example, to understand, to help to understand the company, what is a go-to-market in strategy and validation of different assumptions. And this is from the right side. You can see examples of the exports from after the calculation. The tool allow us to export a lot of data. This is an example for something for specifically different KPIs, which is understandable for CEO, finance, or marketing, for example, and investors, of course. This is on the right side. We can see what is a forecast KPI can be, how it decomposes, what is the decomposition per each marketing channel, each time, and we can understand it, and even much more interesting. This is a response curves per each specific channel, which can be used by the startups. For example, we know if the company sitting in the beginning of the growth or already in the saturation. So even if we are putting more money, invest more and more, we will not see actually the results. So we will be able to recalculate it or to move budget to other channels. But all this together, we should to see from the upper level to see the whole picture. So allow us to understand actually using AdoptoMedia, what is marketing results? We understand how we'll see sales and revenue, what is the budget, what kind of scenario, what different scenarios we can run different what if scenarios and to understand what is important and actually to answer business questions. Where we should to invest, in which channels, when, what kind of the campaigns we can run and what we need maybe to cut, what we need to expand. What is the real customer acquisition cost in time? Not just in general, like we understand exactly what customer acquisition cost will be per each channel. We know what will be in the next month, in the next quarter or next year. We can validate different KPI assumptions or goals and results. We can balance it actually, growth and profitability. One of the major issue for the marketing-driven companies where we try to grow, but we do not understand because of customer acquisition cost, which is always changing. We will not understand what exactly a budget will need and what will be business result, which we will see the huge impact on real company valuation. So this is another real example where, for example, we see in typical case, we see how a company actually building their go-to-market strategy and actual revenue. So on the line Y, we see orders. On the line X, we see time. In the months, in the gray color, we see actually the advertising spend per month. So usually company, they just starting the go-to-market strategy. They will start with the usually typical performance-like level with some automatic go-to-market strategy, usually AdoptoMedia using meta models, which will tell exactly how is the best way to start with. And company usually will go, but then we are after the spending and running first few months, actually we see the product market fit, we see some feedbacks that the product is working well. From some point here, we need to decide what we need to do after that. So most of the company will continue to run from this point, we see here on the red, which will go to the 100% performance because this is very easy using like Google, some Facebook, maybe other performance type campaigns because it's easy, it's understandable. There is a lot of digital tools which allows us to use it very easy. You don't need to use very wise marketing team to bring top experts in different type of media. And usually this is what we will see. We will see the company will run in this way, how you see in the red. So even if we will grow with the gray, we will see we will not grow in some cases, because in some cases we will see a lot of saturation points. We will not able to grow because the competition, even if we grow with budget, we'll still have more or less the same number of orders, because the customer acquisition cost will be very, very expensive and high because of competition and the saturation. But if you will use tool like AdoptoMedia, AdoptoMedia will suggest us from the standpoint to mix between performance and brand, and to use like called brand format strategy in a very, very specific way to know exactly for specific company based on the business KPI will suggest what is the mix should be between different type of channels, including brands, and we'll able to calculate the brand impact, which is very, very hard to measure. AdoptoMedia knows very well how to do it. So they will be able to grow with the green line, and they'll grow significantly in comparison with red. But even more than that, in some point, then we have enough information from this year, we will understand how to optimize even more. So we'll see even more growth, because regular way will be not allowed to grow. So after optimization, we will grow even better. So this will be the huge difference between the what happened the company, for example, is using AdoptoMedia or regular teams, regular tools. Actually, what if you see here, the decrease is because of the seasons you see in the end of the year here, and here is the same issues. But as you can see, it's a huge difference if you are using advanced AI-based tools like AdoptoMedia in comparison with regular cases. Actually, we can see it in next slide. So this is a real case, and we will go to Excel just to see this is how it's working in reality. So if we will take the real case with the startup, which is the early stage startup, growing, and they are trying to show the balancing growth profitability, and we will see from the real P&L, we will see here, for example, the startup will show very nice growth. They will go up to around 4.6 million in 2026. But if we are talking about cash flow, the net earning will be negative. The company will be not cash positive. And we can see that performance here is exactly like we saw before, that the company going with performance-based model, which is the most typical for the most of the startup we see in the industry. From another side, we can see that we will company have the performance, but we will have actually branding and how we call it brand formats approach. Specifically for this case, it will be split between 30 and 17. After 1640, this is actually AdoptoMedia managed to explain. And this is, we'll see much, much bigger growth. So we are going 3 times more revenue with same budget on the advertising. You can see here almost same budget on the advertising. And we will see the very, very different picture. We see the company which actually cash positive. Is a huge, huge difference between the company with losing money and the growing with cash positive. We will see the huge impact on the company results, revenue, and the enterprise value. And we will see it in a few minutes. But before that, I would like to show you the Excel file. We actually, in Excel file, you can see this is an Excel file related to the P&L we discussed. This is the picture. So this is a P&L, which is we'll start from the beginning. We have the actually advertising and promotion expenses in the expenses part, which is split between performance, brand, team and analytics tool expenses, and promotion, because we actually referrals. In this specific case for the startup who is actually selling very nice product and have different revenue streams. And what is interesting that all this data which we will see here is coming from the AdoptoMedia tools, which actually explain us exactly how split between different channels, when and how, in the most important way. So here it's not. This is without AdoptoMedia. But if you will go to the here, and you can see, let's say this is a regular case. Let's say we will put numbers which actually was suggested for us by AdoptoMedia. You can see if you will, in this year, we'll use 70% branding share in the marketing with same advertising, and let's say, is according to the AdoptoMedia, this is will be advertising spend split between performance and share. You see that the picture is absolutely different, and this is exactly what we wanted to show. That different way how it will be split, and this is we see the picture is on the yearly per year, but AdoptoMedia will tell exactly how to manage it per weekly, monthly, and per year, and all this fully automatically, which is will be shown to the decision maker team what they need to do, how to do in order to achieve these specific results, and this is a huge difference. So by the way, you can see here that the customer acquisition cost with the AdoptoMedia is in the last year is about 37, but if you will see with the previous version, the customer acquisition cost was 124. So it's a huge difference if we are using AdoptoMedia or regular case, and this is a very really state of the art to show and to explain how actually right brand formats mix, which is the right branding campaign, which will be impact actually the performance cost, the customer acquisition cost, will finally significantly decrease customer acquisition costs in long term. And usually we know how to calculate branding or long-term effects of the branding. And this is how we started to see here. You see already, if we will just started to use it in the year before, it will be decreased, and will decrease the customer acquisition cost. And here we will change it in this way. How we explain it, you will see it's even less. So this we will see the direct results will be not only on the revenue, it will be on the cash flow. We will see we will be actually positive in our case. This is a huge difference. So we can come back to our presentation to see that actually moment. So we just come back to presentation. This is exactly what we just was able to see in Excel, to see the regular case with the huge difference between the negative cash flow and positive cash flow, 3 times more revenue in comparison with regular case. It's very important. It's almost with the same advertising spend. So with same expenses, company can reach much better results. And as I explained it was everything explainable. We can show all models, all data, which is come from the AdoptoMedia tool, which can be exported and linked to our P&L. We can show it to our investor, to our management team, to our shareholders. So it's very explainable. And it's not just strategic tool. It's just saying what we can do and how to do, how as we explained. This is operational tools, because every time we are putting more and more data as the feedback will be calculated, and it will show with the models from AdoptoMedia if they need something to change in order to improve results based on the data we see from the market, from the competitors, maybe macroeconomical factors, or changing business KPI, which we'll have from the management or shareholder team. So as a result, if we are comparing the just case we discussed, so in the regular case, we saw the customer acquisition cost about $124 in the last year, and we are talking about the AdoptoMedia, it will be 70% less. I apologize, this is in dollars, not euro. Same with revenue. Revenue will go to was 4.6 million, and with AdoptoMedia, we will go to the 15.7 million. This is more than 240%, which is a huge difference. So its results we see that AdoptoMedia actually significantly reduced cost with the very, very high growth rate. And in fact, we improving in the significantly EBITDA. So if we are calculating the valuation, the EBITDA will be much better with our case. And the multiples, because of this case, will be even bigger than the regular, because the company will be in the best category with very, very high growth and very high marginal category. Multiples will be much bigger. So in this specific case, the difference between the regular way and the way, if we are going with AdoptoMedia, the influence on valuation was more than 4 times. Huge, huge difference. For example, company, instead of 10 million valuation, was 40 million valuation with same initial data. Huge, huge difference. So just to summarize, AI has a huge potential for the cross-department collaboration between the CEO, finance, marketing, sales, all other teams as well. And actually, they connect points, connects different data, which allow us to bring it together and allows us to understand what kind of the goals we can put, if it's achievable or not. And based on the AI-supported FP&A, like we explained this, which we use from AdoptoMedia as well, we can build the trusted forecast, which is have a very clear budget, realistic growth, which we can prove to explain based on the models and the results. And this is a proven methodologies. It's not just assumptions, which usually we see in the most of the startups. And this is the reason why the investor will be see these companies much, much more reliable. It will be interesting to consider them for investment. And very important, which is AI should be responsible AI, not black box, something which we can take, we can use, it's explainable, we can understand all points. If we see some changes, we understand why it's happened. And this is exactly what is AdoptoMedia is bringing to us. So it's transparent, explainable, and aligned with day-to-day operation. And it's operational tool, but it's as well as a long-term strategy tool. So this is all this together allow us today to manage our startup SMBs like the huge conglomerates who is using millions of the teams, or sometimes hundreds of millions, in order to be able to reach exactly what we are talking about today. Okay, thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can reach me via email or via site. Thank you very much.